All right, so we are FSM, Christian and I. It's our newspaper that we've kind of come out with. It's independent, it's free, and it highlights the local arts of the Fox Valley and what creatives are thinking and doing and changing our community. I want to just run through our sponsors for this event. Fox Valley Symphony, Mud Imprints, Valley Academy for the Arts, Amano Prints, the Trout Museum of Art, and of course our Patreon followers that have been real dedicated to us through this COVID-19 thing. And yeah, it's been super awesome to feel that support and allow us to put on things like these interviews to connect with people virtually. So today we have Claire Dodge and Emma David, and I'm really excited because both of these people are immensely creative beings that are creating some fantastic things on so many different planes. I'm gonna open it up for them to kind of introduce themselves, and then we'll go into some readings because they will be reading poetry today. Take it away.
Thank you, Katerina. Appreciate it.
That was a very nice introduction.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Would you like to introduce yourself first?
Sure. Okay, so my name is Claire. I have been kind of writing poetry on and off since I was like 13 or 14, and I use it as a very emotional outlet for me. I would say it's probably the one that I use as the most tense form of emotional release, and yeah, I don't write super frequently, but I write in bouts of so I go for a month or two and just really let everything out that I'm going through. I'm overstimulated or overwhelmed. So that will be pretty obvious because my writing is really, I think, erratic and kind of volatile, and yeah, so very emotional. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Buckle up.
Buckle up, says my partner. And yeah, so yeah, I hope it's all right. And yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you, Claire,
Yeah.
for that. This is why Claire and I get along very well, and why we're such good friends, because basically everything she just said, copy paste, but insert Emma David. I pretty much same. Pretty much as long as I can remember, I've been writing, keeping journals, since I could write physically. And one of my earliest memories was running back from the living room to the kitchen, asking my mom if I spelled my name correctly for 3 hours, and I think I was driving her crazy. And yeah, I also use writing as a way to navigate my really scatterbrained mentality. I like to write about the things that I observe and that I'm going through, and I feel like my writing is very influenced by color and imagery, as well as just weird shit I hear in public. So yeah, it also comes in spurts for me as well. It's not just a constant stream of creativity. It'll come kind of just whenever it wants to. So I'm Emma, by the way. I don't know if I said that.
No, that was perfect.
Would you like to read first then? We could just. Oh, great, cool. I'm glad.
Okay. So yeah, I guess we can just go back and forth.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's okay.
Awesome. Okay. So I actually don't really have titles for any of my poetry, because I don't know. I just don't. I'll just start it off with the poetry, I guess. So yeah. So this is my first one. It would be nice to live without consequence. I feel sick with grief as thought transforms into black sludge, curdling in my abdomen, crawling along the walls of my heart, choking me, clogging my esophagus. A taste of my tongue gnawing away at my teeth. I want to lose my flesh and blood, leave my eyes and bones, my blood to the water, my hair to the wind, and my tongue to the vultures. Let them eat my words of death and carry it to a hollow tree, where the bugs may eat the dust of it, and the frogs will eat the bugs, and the frogs will make that sweet croaking sound and sing my love to sleep.
Yeah, I love that. So good. Okay. Well, some of mine do have titles and some of them don't. My writing tends to be a bit shorter and kind of sporadic. So here's one of them. This one is called How I Imagine It Will Be. Yes, up on a high place. Yes, in a pot of honey with sugar, darling, I would. It'd be slow and still too. Light pink, yellow, earth brown, deep blue, 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 and light. Singing in thick hands. Welcome in, bright ones say to me. They say to me, welcome in, welcome in. Thank you.
Let's call this one number 2. Moving along. Your tickly cheeks rub against my softest part, and you hold on to me, and I kiss your sweet noggin. We rock into each other, and our hearts beat as one. I want to swim with you and feel the rhythm of water, hold us together, and sense the rushing current, and know that you feel the same thing. I love hearing your fingerprints covering all of my invisible body parts, only the ones that you can see, the ones I want you to see and feel. And I can see and feel you, and you can know that I love you.
This one doesn't have a title, but apparently I wrote it on April 8th earlier this year at 1:22 in the morning. Carrying a blood-stained mattress with red cheeks and apologies, I meet my friend's eyes when I remember to show that I'm listening and that I care. The dog across the street keeps barking and the kids in the yard are being really fucking loud. Watching the videos of myself talk sometimes makes my stomach drop and I get overwhelmed by how much my gaze moves when speaking. I have appreciation for the people in my life who give me patience and understanding. Reading between the lines of my distractions, it goes both ways. I meet my friends' eyes and I watch their lips move and I repeat their words so I understand. And so that they understand that I am listening and that I care. I hate explaining how I'm feeling. My throat gets tight and I can't make the words come out right, and I didn't mean to rhyme. It feels like in movies when the kid did something wrong and the adults are all surrounding him or her, and they're all sweaty and panty and tripping over explanations. Sometimes I feel so young and I really like being alone because I don't have to explain myself. And I'm thankful for my friends who don't make me. Like you.
All right. Maybe if I ingest the gold, I'll be worth more. People will want me more. Saturday's dust wouldn't look the same as Monday's, and Monday's outfit wouldn't look the same as Sunday's, and my wine glasses would have more than one dirty, and all the beer cans wouldn't be mine. If I had to start again, I had to start again. But if I didn't, last week wouldn't be the same as 3 years ago. And 3 years ago was practically 10, more like 15. Yeah, like 15 years, but I don't wish it was. 15 years ago, I'm glad it's today. I'm today years old, well, or only 2, because they say your bones remake themselves every 2 years. My fingernails can't be more than 2 months, same as my hair, because I just shaved it again. I thought it would make me feel like I did when my mom gave me a birthday cake with blue frosting flowers. That was 19 years ago. But instead, I imagined myself from 12 years ago when I could never fit into a swimsuit like I wanted to. And I didn't know what to tell myself, and no one knew what to tell me because no one knew. And I thought I shouldn't tell anyone.
Damn, that one was good. Yeah. This one I don't have a title for. Bent on the need to get your attention, always trying to find the words to make it sound better. Shameful is the worst kind of way to be. Fill me with sand, tying our pinkies in a bow and kissing to seal the deal. Macrame woman with the pink tulle, birthday cakes, and unlit candles in the shape of the number 23. Oh God, what if I forgot to turn off the burner again? The short one.
My toes shrivel inside my navel where a placenta could live. A concrete forest lives instead, where the calcium would conglomerate and crumble between my fingers. I search for clues underneath and instead find roly-polies. Where they live, so does my childhood. Beneath my feet is the limestone sand and its earlier version, zebra mussels, which cut your feet, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, because the water and algae washes away the blood along with the dirt along with the dirt underneath my fingernails from crawling on the same ground that my grandmother watered so perfectly. The grass is glowing and absorbent and growing and lush, and is perfect for running start cartwheels.
This one I don't have a title for either. I am always carrying your name under my tongue, in that small place under my tongue. I don't think I'm ready yet to loosen my lips and let you slip out and leave me forever, because that's a scary thought. That's a damn scary thought, letting go of you. I'd be more comfortable cutting off my own arm or going blind or being spat into the middle of the ocean, because that's just physical. It means nothing. I have another arm and I have my memories, and I could probably swim enough to reach some sort of island or strip of land, or even just let nature take control and pull me into the arms of the big blue babe. And she kissed me and showed me her shiny shells and dead bones of fish collected in piles on the floor. And I'd live down there forever, and I would crawl on my weight and leave it in a collective pile on the floor, and I'd float through the air, and I'd breathe deeply full of water, and I'd be water, and she'd be water, and we'd be water, and it wouldn't matter if I love you or I'm just afraid, because I'd be water, and you'd be bone and blood and brains, and I'd just be water, and you can't confuse water with anything else but water. But bones and blood and brains are messy and thick and runny and easily confused with things like spaghetti and red paint and death. And I want to be water, clear and unmistakable, but I'm not. I'm also bone and blood and brains, and I'm not one bit clear. Thank you. Oh,
There's always that one thought I can't distract myself from, like a big copper Liberty bell or a cannonball, more like a cannonball. Fire, it signifies the beginning of violence. Unaware I am mentally, what do I want to believe or agree to? I'm not a warlord or a prisoner. I'm a bystander, frozen, confused, because the rubble from it all has dusted every surface. The streets I would use to follow to safety are gone, and my maps are in pieces. I'm not prepared for this. I am not prepared. I'm rattled, unstructured, dense, unmovable, like the crumbled, ghostly heaps of the broken buildings of my psyche. Today, I'm aggravated and happy and tired, but very awake. Today, I have a very prevalent heart condition. It pounds heavily with bassy resonance. Like the drums of this war, I surrender at forfeit. White flag, because I can't fight no matter how red my flag is.
Ooh, I like that one.
Thank you.
Okay, I have one more poem, and then I had a short narrative piece that I wrote last night at like 3 in the morning that I would like to share, if that's all right with all the parties present. Fantastic. This is my last poem. Very short. Plastic lemons and discount palm readings. Put that shit away, you're projecting. Fuzzy and out of focus, green eyes in all the windows on the second story of the old library building on Main Street. That is my poetry for tonight. I will now move to my other device and pull up my story. All right. It's untitled. Take a piece of chocolate if you'd like, she said, handing me a bowl of Dove dark chocolate wrapped in blue foil. No, thank you. I'm all right. Think so. I look out the tall windows on my left. There isn't much happening. It's warm, 70 degrees, sunny, no clouds in sight. Cars on College Ave bustle along, clips of loud radio music and motorcycle engines, but mostly it's pretty quiet actually. The windows are thick enough that it's a dull noise, making it feel far away, which is cool. Her office feels warm from the sun. The sofa reminds me of my grandparents' house on Mueller Street, and I can't tell you why. Something about the texture and the smell. My God, the smell pulls me into some kind of nostalgic vortex. And I feel 10 years old again, sitting in Dr. D's office, pretending not to know what she's talking about. But I don't know, it doesn't bother me this time. This time I like the smell. It's like printer ink, peppermints, and old books, as you could imagine the way that those things smell. It's also the smell of my grandfather's office in the firm downtown where he worked. I remember visiting him one time there with my mom and my grandma. Walking in, they all started chatting, and I walked down his office. The desk to the left was a boat and a bottle, and he smiled at me when he noticed. In the sun, that smell is there too, if you know it. The peppermints are the red and white swirled ones in the flattened circle shape, as if they used to be fully round and someone just squished it halfway and wrapped it in plastic. It's not like the ones we used to keep at the dance studio, a step in time, where my mother worked when I was young. Those were more ovalish in shape and tasted sweet, melting in your mouth, almost like a freeze-dried marshmallow. These ones are more of a sucker consistency. The mints are set in a clear dark green bowl on the table to my left, which is smooth, dark mahogany with tall, thin legs and a top that is about 14 inches in diameter. When I first learned about what a diameter is and how the hell you measure it, I was sitting in my math room at Riverview Middle School. I must have been in 6th grade, I think, because it was on the 2nd floor of the west side of the school, down the hall from Mrs. Woznicki's class, whose homeroom I was in. She used to play Jack Johnson at the end of the day and tell science jokes. Her hair was a dark, rich, curly brown, and she and I used to like to have a challenge on who could read the most books by the end of the month. I think she'd probably let me win when I chose Pride and Prejudice, because I really wanted to impress her, but I only made it past like the first 10 pages of Jane Austen going on and on about the fucking dew on the front lawn of the Swan residence. It's August and it's hot. I wore Bermuda length shorts and 2-inch strap tank top, and everything is sticking. My thighs to the plastic chair, my forearms to the wooden desk, my thick hair to my sweaty forehead. It smells like Dollar Tree sunscreen and lunchroom pizza. So why don't you start by telling me why you're here today? The woman across from me asked, pulling me out of my thoughts. Her tone is soft though, so I don't mind. My guess is that she's in her late 40s, maybe early 50s. She's dressed in light pink slacks, black stylish ballet slippers, and a polka dot blouse. Her hair is sandy blonde, short like mine, and her posture makes me feel at ease. Legs crossed over, one hand under her chin, and the other arm across her knees, leaning forward on her chair as if I'm about to tell a close friend a funny story. Okay, yeah, sure. So, I mean, I don't know, mostly because I have a really hard time staying focused, and it's become pretty draining, and I'm not really sure how to stay in one place, but I would really like to be able to. So, yeah, I would just, I don't know, I would like to learn some strategies on how to manage that, I guess. I exhaled. Her face doesn't change, nor does her tone when she responds, well, okay, yeah, great, that's perfect, wonderful. And, I'm sorry, when is your birthday again? January 25th, I replied. Oh, you're Aquarius. No shit, so am I. She puts the other bowl on the table, the one with the chocolates, and extends it out to me and offers again. This time I accept. And that's it. Those are my readings for the night that I have prepared. Thanks. Great. Thank you.
Mine too, if that wasn't obvious, but yeah.
All right, are you open to some questions?
Yeah, totally.
Cool.
Throw 'em out there.
Okay. So the first question I'm going to ask, and when I listen to your works, both of you, I can really relate, because there's such an incredible authenticity that's kind of coming out of it. It's very experiential, in the sense that I have a somatic or a sensory feeling to what I'm hearing, and I can feel it in my body on so many different levels. And I follow both of you on social media, and I know that you kind of have other creative practices, and I was wondering how you integrate, if you integrate that into your writing work, and how it actually influences that.
Cool. Wow, that's a really nice question.
That is really thoughtful.
I guess for me the first thing that came to mind is I have some videos on my Instagram of me dancing. I know that. I was just, when you said Instagram, I was like, what do I have on my Instagram? and I will have pictures of my cat, and I have pictures or videos of me dancing. And so I guess, yeah, I've been dancing since I was 3. I practiced ballet most of my life, which taught me structure. My mother was my ballet teacher, which is cool because my mom's super wacky and fun, and like the opposite of ballet structure, but she's like a boss ass bitch when it comes to teaching ballet. And I still, in my adult life, like to dance often. However, this time in my life, I don't dance with structure. Whenever I feel like I'm feeling overwhelmed, or having a hard time working through my emotions, I will just kind of turn on music and skip through until something clicks with me, and then I will just kind of feel it out. And I feel like a lot of my writing feels the same way. It's just kind of feeling it out for the most part. So, how about you?
I think, well, if I'm thinking about what I actively post on like either Facebook or Instagram, on Facebook, I like to post a lot of like protesting, sort of like lengthy or just like emotionally and thoughtfully and liberally politically charged kind of things. And in those things surrounding making sure people have better health care, making sure that there's more affordable housing, making sure like masculine toxicity is like falling apart and people feel more comfortable with getting therapy, and that people feel validated when they're transgender, that people feel okay being fat, that people feel okay like just like expressing themselves with their like neuro atypical qualities, I think. And so I think a lot of those things I post because that's what I feel on a day-to-day basis. And I think, and I think about so often, I obsess over a lot of those things. And in my writing, I think it's like the emotional result of being overwhelmed by a lot of those like worldly situations and the like kind of like the antagonism surrounding those worldly situations. So my writing is a way for me to feel like I can just like let out those, like whether they're toxic feelings or just difficult feelings or overwhelming feelings. It's like it's a way to just like release it. And from the Instagram perspective, it's like I post some paintings or drawings of usually like naked nude bodies, because I feel like I'm not in my physical body quite often. I feel like usually I'm just like floating around, dissociated, like quite literally from like a, not just like the trendy dissociated, like I'm having an out-of-body experience, but like actually psychologically dissociating. And painting for me brings me back into that part of my body where I'm focused and grounded again. So
yeah, I 100% agree with that. Claire and I relate to this a lot on the neurotypical spectrum stuff, because we both deal with issues on that. So I think that's why our work complements each other very well, because I feel that we both experience life very similarly and feeling very separate from it often, and feeling very disassociated and confused and frustrated with society. So it comes out in a lot of, I feel like we both have a sense of flow though to it, almost dreamlike. I feel like sometimes it's just very dreamlike. At least personally, I feel dreamy often.
me too.
Floaty.
Yeah, it's funny I bring up social media. I was just thinking about that. I was like, oh man, and we are FSM totally stands for something different, but it's my way right now to like integrate with the world. I really, and I kind of know you, Claire, a little bit from a movement perspective. Like, I think what I really love about your work, and from both of you, is that you do have this like natural understanding on an organic approach to movement and allowing movement to kind of like feed through your body. And so when you read, it has that same like choreography to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's so
You-
sweet.
yeah, I don't know. And I guess maybe that's what, when I say like I'm connecting to it in a somatic way or a synergistic way, it's like I can feel the ups and the downs and the slows and the fasts and this like this little mini dance that's happening with words. It's beautiful. I hate asking this question because personally I hate having to answer this question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. What are you doing during this time right now? We're all kind of on lockdown, and there's a huge surge for like creative movement and kind of rally people together. But then there's also this movement of like take time, recover, figure out what your next steps are. Where are you guys at in that process?
That's a good question.
That is a good question. I just want to come out and say that I went. I took my isolation experience very seriously and reveled in being able to spend quality time with myself and my partner at home. And so that was great. And I loved making food, and I loved taking midnight naps and catching up on some reading and drawing and whatever, and that was great. But I started to really like mentally deteriorate and also get really sluggish and kind of nervous. So yeah. And recently I've been kind of tossed back into work. I'm opening up a bistro with just two people. So I've been working like 4 to 5 days a week trying to figure out how to open a business and not cross boundaries and still maintain appropriate protocols for life and socializing. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
I got a new job recently. I work for Gannett Publishing as an obituary representative. So I spend Saturdays through Wednesdays 8 to 5 putting through obituaries for people across the country on various newspaper platforms, and that's been very interesting. It's made me think a lot about life. Not in really a depressing way though. It's been like pretty fucking cool, not gonna lie. It's been interesting. It's really weird. It feels just like a normal job for the most part, but also sometimes there's a certain story of that really catches my attention, and it's kind of inspiring reading. I feel like I'm just being able to like archive these people's lives, and that's been very fascinating for me. So that's what I spend my time doing during the day, mostly. But before that, and besides that, I would like to say that I've been writing more than I have, but at the same time, it doesn't matter, because I think I've been doing what I need to be doing, which is watching a shit ton of Netflix and watching Gilmore Girls again, and like eating a bunch of pizza and playing with my cat, who's like suffering from some separation anxiety because she's had to move around a lot lately. I moved into a new apartment, so I've been decorating, and I've been hanging out with my mom and my sister a lot, and just Claire. And I don't know. I think I felt really stressed out at first when everything happened after the first couple of weeks, and I wasn't doing anything. I didn't have a job. I felt huge pressure to be creating more, and I was feeling wasted, like I was wasting my time, wasting my energy. I wanted to be writing more. I was like, I don't have an excuse right now, but then I like I don't know, I saw probably some Instagram post or something that was like, yo, you can chill. I think it was like Sarah Bareilles or something.
Yeah.
She posted something.
Writing the book song.
And she was like, you don't have to write the novel or the masterpiece right now or like do anything wild because it's a freaking pandemic. And I was like, yes, yeah. I'm going to go watch Netflix. I'm going to be real with you. That's mostly what I've been doing.
I find it empowering to like not have the pressure of productivity on you every day. Like I think that's too. I mean, some people thrive off that, but personally, I'm like I become overstimulated pretty easily.
Right.
So I think just like working a full-time job feels like working 5 full-time jobs for me. Like I just become absolutely exhausted. So as much as really it was super overwhelming to hear about the losses and the grief of people, and I mean, grappling with that every day definitely diminished the amount of joy that I had in like, in just like the basis of getting that quality time with myself and that quality was kind of reduced by a lot. But yeah, I can't say that I took much time to, I don't know, I painted some, but also, didn't really jump on any creative projects too intensely, but that's all right. So
Yeah. Do you think that that's going to the way that you process this time, which in a lot of ways was a really constructive period of time because it really forces you to like stay with yourself and figure out like, am I a motivated, like a pressure motivated person, or am I a spontaneously creative person? Tuning into that time, do you think that's going to influence the work that comes out in the future for you?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I do. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of self-reflection during this time and really getting to know myself, and I feel like personally that comes in spurts too. I will kind of, stray for a little while, get distracted and overwhelmed and overstimulated by new projects and new prospects, and then during downtimes like this, or when things are more stagnant, and I'm able to kind of reflect and process where I'm at personally and check in and see what it is that I need right now and where I'm at. So I think that overall, even though I haven't been like actually physically creating, I think that this will impact my work later because I've been able to do this reflection and just even though I'm not writing, I have ideas constantly and just blurbs and images of things that I'd like to do or films I'd like to eventually get to. Yeah, I think it will influence my work later on when I have more energy or more inspiration to put it into something,
Yeah, same here. I definitely feel that the effects will be like elongated into the future, and I think the sense of honesty you find with yourself when you really don't have when you really don't have many distractions, like because after so long of doing the same thing over and over again, the distractions aren't distracting anymore, and it's like it becomes a routine. So it's like my mind became just as active as it was later, as it was in the beginning. Like I don't know, whatever. After the effects of enjoying my free time, and so essentially, like I think that honesty that I found within myself, just like the emotional vulnerability of being in uncertain times, and the like my personally privileged situation that I wasn't in. I had a comfortable home to be in, and I was in a relatively good position, and I haven't lost any loved ones, like knock on wood, to this pandemic. But I can definitely sense that it be an ongoing, like emotional, like overshadow to what happens like later in life. And I think just like I don't know, like I guess maybe if I try to detach myself from what's happening in the world, like this doesn't happen. Like I can try, but then it'll just show up as a frustration or a difficulty that's that's happening whether or not I want it to. So yeah, I think I feel like there's gonna be a lot of like sorrow and things that come out in weird, strange ways, and I'm gonna have to deal with it somehow, and hopefully I'll find healthier artistic ways to do that later on. So yeah, sorry that was dark.
No.
No, that was really appropriate, and I think a lot of people can connect to that in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
Christian, do you have any questions?
Sure. Thinking about who your audience is when you're writing in the past, let's say pre-pandemic, were you writing more for yourself or for other people? And as you're seeing how we as a community are being affected by things, do you see that changing? Do you see yourself writing more for an audience or for you as an individual, or is it the same? Who do you write for?
Wow, that's for me, that's a multi-layered question. Like, as I was thinking about it, I got more and more answers because it's really cool that you asked that because I was just thinking about that earlier today. Actually last night. Time's irrelevant for me. And so last night I was doing some writing and some editing, panicking about what I'm gonna read today, and I was reading over my stuff, and half of it I noticed a pattern of like it felt very divided. Like some of it felt really good and really genuine, and the other stuff just didn't sound good. And honestly, just I didn't like it, and that's because I realized that I've been trying to write for an audience. I've been trying to write in the way that I think people want to hear it, or in a way that makes sense for other people. Because I have ADHD, and so for me, communication is difficult, and I have a hard time expressing myself. So exhibit A right now.
Right.
So when it comes to my writing, it's very divided. I have a lot of just like a little blurbs and spits and pieces because that's how my thought process works. It makes sense to me, but to other people it's probably like, what the hell is going on? And so I found that recently I've been trying to for a while I was trying to push myself to write in a way that is like manageable for other people to understand. And then I realized that I was losing my entire writing style, and I wasn't liking my pieces that were coming out of it. And so over the past few days, I've been trying to work on gapping those two things, writing in a way that feels good to me as well as something that makes sense to the audience and is something that you can resonate with. And then on another aspect, though, saying that I have ADHD, that's something that is still very undiagnosed and under-researched in adult women and underrepresented. And I know, at least personally, when I find other artists, female artists who are adults, or even just adults in general who have ADHD or women who have ADHD, it's incredibly inspirational to me, and it feels like amazing to be able to relate to somebody without any communication barrier. And so I also have been trying to arrange, I guess you could say, my writing in a way that maybe would also be representative and speak specifically to an audience of people with ADHD, something that they could resonate with and that makes sense to them. I found an artist or a writer recently, an older man in like his 50s who is a writer, and he has ADHD, and the way he writes is incredibly sporadic, and he writes like how he would think or how he would talk. Like when I tell a story, it will take 12 turns until I finally get to my fucking point. And that's how he writes. And so I really love his writing. And it makes me laugh out loud because I connect and appreciate that point of view and, that style, because it makes sense to me. So a little bit of both, I think, but I'm trying to find a healthy balance and being able to remain authentic throughout all of it. That makes sense.
I love everything.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, no, I definitely remember being asked this question by Jordan Brown specifically, like 2 or 3 years ago. Jordan.
Love you, Jordan.
Yeah.
You're out there watching.
So 2 or 3 years ago, I remember just being like stumped, absolutely stumped by that question, and having like just no understanding of like what the difference of the two like could even be or need to look like.
Right.
But now I still feel like I also don't know what the difference is necessarily, because but now I feel like I know why I don't know why there isn't much of a difference, if that makes sense. So I think for me it's like I think writing for myself also kind of feels like if I don't know, like it also feels like I am kind of writing for somebody else at the same time. It's because I feel like most experiences that I have, especially growing up in Wisconsin, I think like so many of us experience similar childhoods, or know somebody who's experienced a similar childhood or a similar adolescence. I don't know. It's just like it's a very, I don't know. It's just a place that I think a lot of people have a lot of the same feelings in. So one thing I've noticed is just like it's just the feeling I get of I don't know, understanding that like that empathy exists between everybody. So I guess when I write for myself, I'm like I do, I guess, like in situations like these, hope that in some way it will like comfort someone in knowing that they're not alone, or knowing that, or experiencing, like Katarina said, like maybe like a visceral, like sort of like response to something where it's like, wow, like, that's sense. And maybe even that is just enough to make someone feel like they're like living in, that they're, maybe if it makes someone happy, like that's super great. But in a moment when I'm writing, I'm just like happy to be writing at that moment and happy to be getting it out of my system, or just basically happy to be getting it out of my system. And then basically in this experience, I'm like hoping that the writing benefits somebody else, or just, enjoying, I guess maybe it's enjoyable to share with people who are interested, and I'm grateful for that opportunity. So it's kind of a balance, right. I think.
Yeah, you're writing for yourself, but you're also like, hoping that somebody connects to it. So, yeah. Yeah, cool.
Well, I think we're definitely connecting to what you shared, both of you. So thank you with that. Before I ask a second question, there's like a little chat. Well, I'm pointing where my chat box is. You might be somewhere else, but there's a little chat box. And if you want to type anything in, a question for Claire and Emma, we will unmute you, and then you can ask your question directly to them. But then on the flip side of, who you are writing for, so Katarina and I are trying to make this platform to allow creatives and community to come together and have some kind of understanding of each other and have a place where the creatives can be accepted, exist, challenge. My question now is, what do you need from us? What do you need from your community? What do you need from the people who are making that connection to make your words, which are very personal, but also universally personal? What do you need from us to make your work and your voices heard more? What do you need?
I feel like I don't ask myself that question.
I'm stumped, I guess. Yeah, and first off, I want to say I really appreciate you saying that like the work we share is personal, because it is.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about how scary it can be sometimes sharing in front of people, because it is a very vulnerable thing. It kind of feels like you're reading from your diary in a more elusive way. You're not name dropping, usually, but it's like it's comfortable a little bit. It's like you're putting yourself out there, and it's scary as hell. But it's like, but also like, what's the point if you don't? Almost, So, I guess personally, wow. Geez. First off, I think you guys have done a great start, great job, good start is FSM with the physical literary copy of it. Again, to just shout out at Chloe Allen and Jordan Brown with the Bastards Review. I think with things like the Bastards Review and FSM, and like the Wallop and all the literary art zines and newspapers that are happening. I think that's incredible, especially for writers. Like, I mean, I think that I had a really hard time finding a community of writers, and I even still do. I still like figuring it out, So I know very little. I know a very small amount of writers, and I think that there is a huge I think there's a lot of opportunities in the Fox Cities for visual artists, which is amazing. But I find a very small amount of opportunities for writers. Like, I don't see spoken word or like poetry reading opportunities very often. So I think that is something that I like and appreciate, and I like the print aspect, because also sometimes I get very nervous speaking in front of people, but I still want my stuff to be read or heard, or not even just that. It's not about me. I hope that somebody would be able to relate to it or get something from it. So I'd like to share it and have that be a possibility. So having the option of print is nice in that way, that you don't have to always verbally share, but it can still be viewed publicly.
I am definitely with you on that. Just with creating a platform where I think just like that spread of events on those 2 pages, where all of a sudden you're like, wow, this is all happening within how many miles, 10 miles or whatever it means, and it's very exciting to just have that experience, and as a community, to see other people that are all interested in the same thing as you are, because it's like it's not like you're gonna tell every customer you see at the cafe, like, hey, you and art, like, that's a hard thing to like recycle into, like do, so to just have a pre-existing community where we all can kind of meet up, and FSM would be very catalyst for that. And so I think what you guys are doing is exactly what the community needs. to keep itself alive and thriving and moving forward and just like embracing reveling in what it already is. So I just really appreciate that, and I feel like those needs are being pretty met. And but I mean from that perspective, from the perspective of gathering community, like you guys are really reaching for that. So that's
Yeah,
awesome.
for real.
And I think with other things, other options, other needs, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like it's something that goes further on the political spectrum, and like I think it also has to do with like a community of people embracing the right to diversity, to whether it's neurodiversity, whether like embracing people of color, embracing like different genders, embracing different sexualities, and kind of like that need being met, where it's like as a community we just like really create more of a sense of inclusivity and just like I don't know, yeah. So I think those needs aren't met in the entire world though. So in a community it's natural that it's just bound not to happen right now, but I think that need should be met, and I think we can all move towards that as a collective of people. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah, I think something else I just thought. I think something that would be pretty cool and fun would be maybe like words aren't working for me right now. Like group reading groups, any event where fellow artists or fellow writers can meet up and share their in progress works with other writers, maybe get feedback or suggestions, or just to like nerd out over writing together would be fun.
Yeah, that would
Not
be
that I'm
fun.
putting that on you guys.
Yeah, that's so cool.
That would be a fun time, and it would be cool.
Yeah.
A chance to meet other writers too, because you don't know who is out there who might, see that advertisement or something and decide to go for it.
And having the like opportunity to share those unfinished works, where it feels like less of a like this is who I am, but saying like, or this is who I am as a writer, but saying like, this is what I got. Any suggestions? Like that's fun to like be able to be inspired by each other.
Yeah, I feel often that I will get to a certain spot and I'll be like on a roll, like going for a long time. I'll be like 5 pages down, it's like narrative or something, and then I hit a point and I just like cannot for the life of me think of how to continue it or what else to do with it, and it just feels super stagnant, and I'm like, this is going stale real quick. And so it helps a lot to be able to share it with somebody else and just get like a fresh pair of eyes. And I've had some pretty good feedback in that way, or just have somebody like be like, well, look at it this way, and it just like totally opens it for you sometimes. So cool. But yeah, you guys are killing it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, no, the reason why we do it is for people like you, like, yeah, like, Christian and I, we do our thing, but at the same time, like, there are so many creative and talented young people, and I say young people really loosely because sometimes I feel like, especially in the Fox Valley, it's harder when you're newer to break into things because things are so established here. So this is our kind of way of like giving back and connecting and saying like, look at all this growing stuff that people haven't seen yet because it hasn't had the chance to fully get the sun and blossom into what it needs to be. So yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we appreciate it. That's a very real thing. I've talked about that for years. Just feeling like I want to be more involved, but don't. And I've heard that from a lot of other people too, feeling like they want to be involved, but they don't know how to or who to talk to because they don't feel like they're part of like the group or the community or whatever. And so yeah, it's really cool having people like you guys who are putting in the effort and opening that circle. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, come through. Like, these people have something to say too. That means a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah,
So we haven't had any questions come through the chat yet, but if anyone wants to ask Claire and Emma something, now's a great time to do it. They have lots of answers.
Yeah.
Yeah. If not, oh, here we go. Haley, do you want to ask your question directly if I unmute you? All right. Haley, you are unmuted,
Hi, Haley.
but you're very quiet.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, Haley.
Sorry, had to unmute myself. First of all, I want to say that you guys are both amazing. You guys have a great work. I love it. I love it so much. I guess I just want to ask, how did you guys get your start writing?
Good question. For me, I think it just started. Well, when I was really young, I kept a lot of journals. Like dated every freaking day. I would be like, today, the boy I like looked at me in homeroom, you know, and then I'd be like, also, pizza rolls. And so I just would write everything down, and I was really quiet as a kid. I was a total observer. I actually, like, straight up, I'm not even being not even kidding right now when I say I did not realize other people saw me as an actual person until like 6th grade. Like, I just didn't. It didn't process for me. I was just like really in my head. And so I read all the time. I just was like obsessed with reading. And I didn't talk much, so I just wrote kind of everything that I thought down, and kept journals that way. And it just kept going, I guess, until high school, and I discovered slam poetry on YouTube when I was like 12 and got really into that. And then went from there. So I guess that's how it went for me. Just kind of a kid keeping track.
Same, kind of.
Really?
Yeah,
Cool.
I think so one of the instances I really remember is when oh my gosh, so I went to a Trinity Lutheran school from kindergarten to 4th grade, and at the same time that we were learning like memorizing Bible verses, like they were also having a journal. and like I didn't know that the teacher read the journals. I didn't know that was gonna happen. And I remember being like just writing down that I had a crush on this stupid boy, and then the teacher being like, I don't know if you should have these feelings. Basically, she was like, maybe we should talk about this. In red pen, like red cursive pen, so you know that it meant something serious. Don't go out and edit your essays or whatever. So, oh my God. So yeah, that was when I realized that I needed to do it at home. No teachers allowed. Not that I don't respect. I appreciate you, Mrs. Dillon. You're a rat, but yeah. So that was the thing. And then I forgot about it for a while. I went through a phase, and then also came across novel, and I just really liked reading it, and I liked how it felt. It felt like I empathized with what she was talking about. It was easy to follow. And yeah, so that was cool. And then also forgot about writing again for another like 5 years basically. And then in high school, I remember reading like Go Ask Alice, and that was a journal style that resonated with her writing too. So yeah, that was that.
That's a cool story.
I
That's
know.
so
I
didn't know
never
that.
thought about it until now. Yeah, that's kind of it.
Yeah. Thanks for the question, Haley. That was cool.
Yeah, thanks, Haley.
Thanks for sharing, guys. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, you rock.
You too. Yeah, literally. I was drunk.
Oh yeah, Haley rocks hard on drums, everybody. If you need a drummer, hit Haley up. We played in a band together for a little while. It was funny. We rock. Hello.
So, not to put you on the spot, but do either of you have a poem to maybe close out this night? We're at 8:01, but if you have something else to share before we shut her down.
Yeah, I think I know I stuffed something away in here.
We just see what I got here. Okay.
Or, just write something on the spot right now and just let us know what it is.
FSM is rad.
That is rad.
Unless you find something before me, please. Okay.
Well, I will let Claire keep rummaging, and I found a tiny one that I wrote a long time ago-ish. I was like trying different kind of like writing practices at the time, and at this time I was like writing using the same letter with like each stanza. So it's not title. It says, take a look, look up, lock it in, I'm lingering, longing, latching little by lot, on the lips, on the ledge, look up, I'm laughing. That's it.
So my stuff is pretty disorganized right now, but this one I can probably skip around a little bit. Answer this: a few deer in the headlights run into the forest. They do near death, adrenaline, one breath, 5 feet away, one thought too close. Sympathetic euthanasia. Their howls, hoots, squeaks, echoing into nothing but heard by everything. They hear the trees that fall. They see the crash. They taste the remains. Watch the spores float. Watch the spores float. The trunks disintegrate. Eat the bugs and the bark from the homes out of the hollowness. They sift through the sacrifice. The elder tree dies for its seedlings. And these animals have a visceral respect for its peers, seeing no selfishness. One less. Oh no. Sorry. It acknowledges its weakness and turns it to strength. Through death may come life reincarnation. It's more than holiness. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, not edited. I'm sorry. That was.
I love watching you read your own cursive handwriting.
Yeah, it's really messy.
Awesome. It was great. Thank you guys for watching this tonight. It was really fun.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you guys
That
so
was
much.
really cool. And fun.
Thank you to everyone who showed up to also
Yes.
listen to us.
For real.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Blending us.
Really cool. Thanks for staying.
Yeah, thank you very much for
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
being a part of this. And I think most of everyone, but not everyone maybe knows. So Claire Dodge and Emma Davison just search them out, watch for their words. Claire has an article that will be coming out in the FSM second issue when we finally put it out, which is hopefully going to be soon. But thank you very much for both being a part of this. Thanks, Katerina, and we'll see you soon. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good night.